Welcome to Movie Recall. In today's video, we will be going through the 1999 movie The Boondock Saints. It's time to recall. Let's get started. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The movie starts and we are taken to a Catholic church in Boston where we see Irish-American fraternal twin brothers Connor McManus and Murphy McManus pray while a sermon is read. We see that all the people in the church are very attentive, and then, in the sermon, a woman named Kitty is also mentioned. She was a real-life crime victim brutally murdered while her neighbors watched without intervening. The father goes on to say that 30 long years ago, this poor soul cried for help. He says that all the people just watched as Kitty was supposed to death. No one even bothered to call the police. They depart as the priest reminds the congregation that they should fear not just evil, but also the indifference of good men. The brothers conclude that the priest finally understands, Connor saying that he thinks father finally understands, and Murphy agrees too. Connor and Murphy work at a local meatpacking plant. While celebrating St. Patrick's Day in a neighborhood bar, we see that their boss brings in a newcomer and he tells Murphy and Connor to brief the newcomer about what they are supposed to do there. They, however, do not get along, and the newcomer goes on to hit Murphy in the nuts while Connor then punches him. They then hit the bar at night and have a lot of fun. The old owner of the bar then goes on to say that he has got bad news, adding that he is going to close down the bar. He says that he is having some problems with the Russians, so he needs to close it down, but one of the boys says that he can help him out. However, Doc says that he just needs to close it and tells all the boys to keep their mouths shut if they don't want any trouble. This is when 3 Russian soldiers, led by Ivan Chekhov, enter and order everyone to leave, as their organization has decided to evict the pub. In the ensuing bar brawl, Connor, Murphy, and the patrons publicly humiliate the mobsters. The mobsters, however, feel insulted. They go on to tell the boys to get out of there because they are not playing any games, but the boys do not listen to them. The bar owner also tells the boys to leave, but they don't listen to him either. So the next day, they go on to ambush the brothers in their home. As Murphy is dragged into a nearby alley to be executed, Connor escapes to the roof and drops a toilet, along with himself, off the roof and onto the mobsters, killing them and rescuing Murphy. An agent named Greenlee is also there, and he goes on to give his theories while much experienced man, Agent Paul Smecker, just stands there and listens to him. He then tells the junior to get him some coffee, at which Greenlee is of course annoyed. Paul Smecker then gets to work, and as everyone looks on, he goes on to put on hands-free and plays some music while he looks at the dead body and inspects the area around it. He then moves through the alley as he tries to figure out what must have happened out there. He then goes on to call one of the juniors and tells him to talk to the manager of the building nearby and ask him if he has had any complaints of water coming down from the wall. He tells another officer to look into the dumpster and see if he is able to find any bullet cases. He then goes on to come up with a conclusion as he tells the Russians that the mobster's death was not a professional hit, but self-defense. As the police begin a manhunt for the killers, someone leaks this whole thing to the press, and Agent Smecker is not at all happy about it. He goes on to give an earful to the people in his precinct. He then tells them that the general public is going to consider these 2 murderers their heroes because they killed the bad people in self-defense. Just as he is talking about this, Greenlee says that these guys must be miles away by now because they must be really scared, and just as he says that, Connor and Murphy arrive at the police station to clear their names. During the initial interrogation, the brothers impress Smecker with their multilingualism, including Gaelic, Russian, French, Spanish, Italian, and German, while recalling the specifics of the bar fight and subsequent self-defense the next morning. Smecker is impressed with the boys and he respects them for coming to him. He right away believes their story and allows them to stay overnight in a holding cell to evade the press. That night, Connor and Murphy receive a vision from God telling them to destroy all that is evil so that which is good may flourish. The very next day, Smecker makes his way to the press waiting for him and goes on to tell them that they are not going to charge the brothers with murder because they clearly did it in self-defense. He tells them that they are going to drop the brothers wherever they want to go. The press people want to talk to the brothers too, but Smecker does not allow that to happen. The brothers now go on to decide that they are going to get rid of the evil men in Boston, and they have decided that they are going to do it with the help of their friend and former mob package boy, David Della Rocco, who is also known as the funny man amongst the mobsters. The brothers trade in the weapons and valuables stolen from the mobsters' bodies for their own, and used Connor's knowledge of Russian to locate a meeting between Russian syndicate bosses at a local hotel. When they are in the elevator, they go on to ask each other if they are nervous, and they admit that they are a little nervous about what they are about to do. Crashing into the room through an overhead air duct, the brothers draw their guns and fire, killing the 8 underbosses, forcing the leader, Yuri Big Man Petrova, to his knees. The brothers recite a short prayer as they say, "And shepherds will be for thee, my lord, for thee. Power hath descended forth from thy hand, that our feet may swiftly carry out thy command. So we shall flow a river forth to thee, and teeming with souls shall it ever be. In nami patri, et filii, et spiritus sancti." After saying the prayer, they go on to shoot him too and place pennies over his eyes because they shoot right into his eyes. As they do that, Agent Smecker is in bed with another man. It turns out he's gay. He goes on to receive a call and gets to know about the slaughterhouse they made of the hotel lobby. When Smecker sees the body with coins in his eyes, he goes on to say that this thing might have been done with religious intent. He also figures out that it has been done by 2 guys. While the brothers are preparing to leave the hotel, they are surprised to find Rocco dressed as a bellboy knocking at the door with a tray of food. They decide that they are going to mess with him just for some fun and pull him into the hotel room, concealing their identity with masks, and threaten to execute him. He begs them not to kill him, telling them that he is on their side. He goes on to tell them that they have done a good job, adding that he is just there to be a funny man and nothing else. Murphy scares him even more when he tells him that his time is over. Eventually, they reveal their identity to Rocco as they take off their masks. He is shocked to see that it is the brothers and cannot just believe his eyes. As they get to talk, he is still not able to get over the fact that the brothers have embarked upon a mission to wipe out the evil from this city when he thinks that the brothers himself happen to be pretty evil. Murphy then goes on to explain to him that the people of this city are victimized every day. A normal go back home from his job, turns on the TV, and learns that someone has been raped or murdered. The people of the city now live in fear of these murderers and the rapists out there. He adds that even if these people are caught, they get bailed so quickly because they are rich and powerful. Rocco also agrees with them. He goes on to say that the brothers are doing a great job at what they are doing and tells them to carry it on. Rocco goes on to say that he is also sick of all this crime in the city, and so he also decides to join the brothers in their mission. Once again, Agent Smecker is brought to the front of the murder case. The fact that all the killings involved the Russian mob leads Smecker to theory that the executions were the result of the feud between the Russian and the Italian mobs. That night, the brothers and Rocco hang out together for a long time. They smoke and drink, and Rocco goes on to say that he is done working for those fat mobsters. He has been doing this since high school, and he is not going to do it anymore. They get so drunk that Rocco mistakenly kills their cat by shooting her. The next morning, they take a walk, and the brothers try to convince Rocco that he was sold out by Italian mob boss Papa Joe Iacovetta because he was sent to the hotel with a 6-shooter .38 revolver, despite the fact that there were 9 mobsters in the hotel room. Rocco does not want to believe that he was sold out by his boss, but Murphy makes him see logic, and he is shocked. He still does not want to believe it. He tells him that this is not how things happen. They even get into an argument, and the brothers go on to tell him to use his brain for at least once in his life. Later on, he goes on to send some more girls for the brothers so that they can have some fun, and the brothers are hanging out with the girls. Rocco bursts through the door, shouting at them to pack because they have to leave right away. He then tells the brothers that he killed them all. We then see a flashback of what actually happened with Rocco. He sees 2 of Iacovetta's men at a deli and goes on to learn that he was actually sold out and everyone knew about it. They go on to make fun of him, and Rocco shoots them both dead right away. He even kills the bartender before he gets out of bullets and leaves the deli. In retaliation, Rocco and the brothers hunt down and kill Vincenzo Lapazzi, the underboss of the Iacovetta crime family, at a local strip club. Also killed at the strip club are 2 street criminals with no connection to organized crime, thus disproving Smecker's mob war theory. The 3 vigilantes proceeded on a series of increasingly violent missions, cleansing the city of vicious criminals and others who have eluded justice. Papa Joe, believing that the mob killings are an act of revenge from Rocco for setting him up to be killed, contracts the infamous contract killer Il Duce to deal with the vengeful package boy. Rocco then insists that he and the brothers murder a hitman that Rocco had briefly worked with. According to Rocco, the man was responsible for murdering an entire family and had burnt the remains in a dumpster. They head to the hitman's house and murder all of his men. After a hand-to-hand fight, Rocco beats the hitman to death with a cue ball. As they leave the hitman's house through the front door, the trio is ambushed by El Duce, and in the resulting shootout, the trio managed to chase Il Duce away. Rocco's finger is shot off, and each of the brothers receives serious but not mortal gunshot wounds, which they cauterize with a hot iron. Smecker makes his way to the crime scene and goes on to find Rocco's finger there. He keeps the finger with him and does not tell anyone about it. Smecker later finds out that the finger actually belongs to Rocco, and this is someone whom he has already met, so things now start to become a little easier for him, and the mystery starts to get unraveled as the time goes by. He is now torn. He knows that the brothers are doing what they are doing for a good cause, but at the same time, he is a thorough professional, so he has that desire to bring them to justice too. He then makes his way to a Catholic church to seek advice. Bemoaning the futility of the courts that fail to punish evil men and his uncertainty with the brothers' actions in a confessional, Smecker is oblivious to the fact that Rocco, who has tracked Smecker to the church, is forcefully directing the priest's responses to preserve the Boondock Saints' identities. Connor sees Rocco follow the priest into the confessional and, disgusted with the blasphemy, pulls Rocco's head through the other confessional at gunpoint. In whispered tones, Rocco tries to explain to Connor the circumstance while still holding his gun to the priest's head. Smecker is advised, reluctantly by the priest, that the saints are acting as messengers from God and that the laws of God are greater than the laws of man. Inspired by the advice, Smecker also decides to help the brothers in their noble cause. The brothers and Rocco now get back to work. Rocco and the brothers go on to infiltrate the Yakavetta headquarters to finish off the family, but are captured by Papa Joe and his henchmen, who recently arrived to protect Papa Joe from such an attack. Papa Joe executes Rocco to intimidate the brothers. The brothers manage to free themselves and tend to Rocco, while Smecker, disguised as a female prostitute, distracts the other mobsters. Smecker kills the remaining mobsters only to be knocked unconscious by Il Duce, who mistakes Smecker for a woman. As the brothers say their family prayer over Rocco, Il Duce arrives and sneaks up behind them. Il Duce goes on to hear the brothers say the family prayer, and he realizes that he was only supposed to kill Rocco, which he already has, so he too decides to join the brothers. He then goes on to reveal that he is actually the father of the brothers, so he is going to help his sons now. 3 months later, Papa Joe is sent to trial for the 3rd time. However, the reporters on scene anticipate his acquittal. The twins and Il Duce, aided by Smecker, Dolly, Duffy, and Greenlee, infiltrate the trial after sliding their weapons over the metal detector. Unmasked, they make a speech stating that they intend to eradicate evil wherever they find it before reciting their family prayer and killing Papa Joe. The media dubs the three the Saints, and with that, the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.